Hello, checking in with chapters 34 and mostly into 40 of The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. Yes, so Logan has his battle with the scary dude who's half blue, a giant, and has his blue side basically seals up and heals itself, and even his human side seems strangely invulnerable. But Dogman, Bethod, and that managed to hack down the witch, or Bethod does, while the other two are getting completely bewitched in a very kind of a Saruman sort of way. Cleaver head in two. Yes. Nicely gross. Logan becomes the Bloody Nine, fucking kills the guy, and then storms up the bastion and kills Bethod and tosses him overboard. And he gets, for his sins, he gets named the King of the North, and thus uses his thing to commit his troops, or as many people as he can get to follow him, to go down south and fight the Gurkish with West and his Union troops. And the Hillman gives him a hug at the end and says, "You killed my son." And it's like, oh, see, now I was wondering about that, because there was he had this memory thing of like killing a young boy, and it's like, that's one of Gregog's, or whatever the hell his name's, sons, isn't it? And yeah, it was. And he says, but he's like, the Hillman's like, yeah, well, I'm not one to complain. If you put a wolf among sheep, of course you're going to lose some sheep. And someone who's either dumb enough or unlucky enough. But don't come up to the hills. Don't come up to the hills. You won't get a welcome there. It's like, and there's no smile. There's a smile, but it's not a smile of friendship. And so they're heading down. And then down south, the Gurkish have engaged. They have a little parley. And Gazelle does his best rousing speech. The heavies have to go in and club a couple of hecklers, but he manages to do that. And then they start doing the bombardment, so they rush him away. And you almost think he's going to have a little bit of rapprochement with his princess, but his princess is just basically, I just hope the Gurkish kill you fucking all. Every last one of you. And he's just like, fuck this, and leaves. He actually talks back to Baylor. I have to forget what his name is. The Magi. He actually talks back to him again and says, like, no, we're going to open the gates of the Agramont and let the wounded in there and set up things. It's like, oh no, we shouldn't. It's like, yeah, we are. He's talking about, and Baylor not happy with that. He's fuming against that. But that's not the main concern. The main concern is when they do the parley, one of the Death Eaters arrives, one of the apprentices of Baylor's opposite, and who broke broken the first laws and created all these Death Eaters. And there's 100 of them out there waiting for him. And so Baylor's like, okay, we're going to have to go to this magic citadel that's in the heart of this place, where the maker's castle, or whatever, which is super magic and super freaky, and tells Pharaoh not to follow them. Pharaoh, who's like, fuck all this, and killing's fine. Baylor and the guy who actually rescued her in the beginning, Pharaoh in the beginning, from the Gurkish and the Death Eaters who are pursuing her. They go in there and she follows them, and they walk into the black, and she follows them into the black. So we'll have to see what's going on there. Oh, and Glockdar, who has been, as they say, very proverbially, is between a rock and a hard place. He is locked between his Arch-Lector and this bank, which want very different things. The bank wants him to spy on the Arch-Lector, and the Arch-Lector wants him to basically find reasons that they can depose the king. And they've told him very much, no, you will not do that. And we also want to know what he's doing at the university, which, and the Arch-Lector is basically intimated now that he knows that there's stuff up, that like there's no way you could have held off at that De Silva or whatever, that embattled place that the Gurkish were surrounding without lots of money. Where'd you get all that money? Suddenly he's asking questions like that, and Glockdar's like, I am so fucked. At which point Artie is like, because he phrases it as like, I've got two old suitors, both of them insanely jealous, who both want me to be theirs, but the second I go to one, the other one will kill me. And she says, well, you just need to find a third suitor. And he's like, a third suitor. And so he goes to the High Justice of this thing and says, this is the story. He spills all the beans. It feels like he's cutting his own throat. But it feels strangely good. And the High Magister says, oh, well, Morovia, her High Magister Morovia says, well, like, just bring me a signed confession of the Arch-Lector, and then we can do something. It's like, oh, that's it, eh? Just a signed confession from the head of the Inquisition. That's great. But in a strange way, he actually does feel like there's a glimmer of hope in all of this, which that will be quite surprising. And he's like, and obviously somebody is reporting right to the bank on you, and you need to trim your grass and find out who that is, and clip that before you try and move against Arch-Lector Salt. He says, oh yes, I've got my clippers out. I do wonder if it's probably going to be Artie, though, who is probably his big confidant, which would probably make sense and be highly emotional. So that's probably what it is. So yeah, that's where I am right now. Pharaoh going into the dark in the Maker's castle, and her being part demon. I wonder how that's going to go. All right, more videos later.